Thanks. We are the MARTA Train Tracker Time. Our team is Jeff Lamb, myself, David Emery, Derek Edwards, and Wendy Darling. And the idea here is to show what's possible using open transit data in terms of providing services, mobile and web-based services to riders that make it easier and or at least less painful to ride MARTA. The current schedules often are somewhat sparse. I'm someone who rides MARTA quite a bit. I think all of us do to some degree here on this team. And sometimes the trains are 20 minutes apart. Sometimes the buses are much more than that. We were focused on trains mainly for this exercise, but the idea is to create a service that shows you where the trains are in real time. So this is what's running now, and you can see there is a little icon that Jeff is showing, like kind of a simulated iPhone app here. We're zoomed in pretty far at this point, but this is showing all of the trains that are currently active. So you can see there's one now where you can kind of see where we are. There's one going southbound between the Art Center and Midtown stations. There's one going northbound around Art Center. This covers all of the lines, the red, gold, blue, and green lines. And this is based on the schedules. That's really the key thing to kind of take away from this, is that there is no actual real-time feed available from MARTA showing where the trains are. And part of our goal with this project is to kind of show MARTA what what's possible if that information is available, and to show that there is demand for this kind of service among the local transit community and among the local developer community. So something like the actual real-time feed that's based on MARTA's own dispatching system is, I think, is something obviously only MARTA can provide, although we've talked a little bit about maybe there's a way to crowdsource that as a larger ongoing project. But at least for the foreseeable future, I think our best hope is to convince MARTA to open this data. They already track it internally. If you ride MARTA, you may notice at the stations they have signs that say next train 3 minutes. So they know where their trains are in the system, obviously, and they have a way of tracking that internally. The idea would be to push that out into a format that could be consumed, and then it could be plugged into this kind of application. So one thing that we were very careful about in this project was to transmit all of the data in standard formats that MARTA would use otherwise if they were to provide this as a public feed. So there are two types of data feeds that are used in the transit industry for this, for pushing data out publicly. There's what's called the GTFS format, the General Transit Feed Specification, for static data, so scheduled information, route alignments, anything that it doesn't change over time. Although obviously they can make modifications, but anything that doesn't change on a day-to-day basis is covered in that feed. Pardon me. The other format, it's a newer format, is called GTFS Real Time. So it's an extension to the GTFS feed that provides standard ways to represent information about train locations, about delays, any kind of service alerts that are specific to a route. So what we ended up doing as part of this project was kind of creating a mock-up feed, both the GTFS static feed and the GTFS real-time feed, because MARTA does not provide either of those right now to the public. So the GTFS feed was based largely on scraping from the website. That's what Derek spent most of yesterday doing. It works. It's not ideal, but until MARTA steps up and provides this information, this is really the only option we have. So we've created a mock-up GTFS feed for the rail system only that incorporates the current schedule-based information as of this weekend. Then we also wrote this Java-based backend that reads in the GTFS feed, so it now has all the schedule information loaded into memory, and it is what generates the real-time feed that is being fed into this app. So it processes all that schedule information, considers what time is it right now, and then figures out where are the trains in theory right now, assuming that everything's on schedule. So that this just provides a snapshot of the system, provided everything's on schedule. Now, obviously, that's not always the case, so I think going forward, we really want to focus on using this as kind of a lobbying tool with MARTA to say, look, there really is a lot of benefit that could be had from opening up this data. Now, in the meantime, I think there is some value in what we've created here for everyday riders, because I mean, it's just another way of looking at the schedules effectively. It shows you where your train is if it's on schedule right now, which I think to a lot of people is going to be more useful than looking at just a big table of times. If you're not familiar with the system, you have to figure out exactly where you are and which trip applies to you, this might help you visualize that in a little more intuitive way. But I think what we really hope will happen is that we can take this to MARTA, say, look, a lot of work's already been done just to kind of lay the groundwork here. The big missing piece is this open data, and I think we'd like to talk to them about that. It's something that a lot of other transit agencies are doing. If you go to other cities, there are many other services that are already online, similar to this, often using the real-time data. And once that data's out there, I think things can really take off. But for now, I think we're still at the point of just showing here's what's possible, and here's just the start of something that I think could be very transformative for transit in Atlanta. So that's really all I have to say. Does anyone else want to add anything from the team?
Well, I think this is a perfect example of citizens of government reaching out to, if they reach out to passionate citizens, they don't have to pay $1 million for their IT projects. They could they could rely on the local community to do a lot of stuff for free. And this is just one example of that. And I think we'll convince MARTA to not spend so much money.
Yeah, especially given MARTA's financial situation, having to cut back service. This is something that they can push out to the community that we have in this room, and I think there's a lot of interest in Atlanta in building these sort of applications, as long as the platform is there to build upon. So I think this is kind of a start toward building that platform, but we need to have the agencies on board, and hopefully this can help make that case.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I can add the-
Go ahead.
I also want to plug, I created 2 promo videos. One is a short overview, like 45 seconds of the project, and the other one is using Extra Normal with a sort of like a case of, on a Friday night, someone comes out and wants to know when their train is coming, and that one's funnier. If you go on YouTube or you go on Twitter and you look for stuff that's tagged for this event, you'll find it. And like I said, there's 2. There's one that's more like the serious version with like the narration and the script, and the other one that's more like hand gestures and animation and stuff. So
What's the tag?
I think I just called it MARTA Train Tracker Demo or something like that. So if you look on YouTube, there would be 2. That one was posted late last night and one was posted at like noon.
So, any
I guess we'll let the judges.
any questions?
Well, hopefully now, with their app, people can be a little bit more patient. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to let the
No, anybody can ask questions for the next minute and a half.
I just want to say that,
Minute.
when you're waiting for the bus, it's frustrating, or the MARTA, or the train, and they're never on time, and so you can't go by the scheduled paperwork you find, but at least that'll give you a little bit more to spend your moment waiting.
Right. I mean, you can choose to stay at your desk for another 5 minutes if you know the bus is running late. So it certainly is something that I think would be useful by many people that ride transit.
I like it.
Yes.
So how are you going to get MARTA to see what you're doing?
So we have a plan to market it. Wendy will probably tweet out the promo video to her thousands of followers on Twitter. That'll help. Dave and I, we're board members of the Citizens for Progressive Transit Advocacy Group here in Atlanta. We want to gather as many people as possible to the next MARTA Board of Directors meeting and say, hey, look, we want this data. Why aren't you giving this to us? So, and they, MARTA or with any government agency, they're incentivized to act only when they see there's huge enough demand for lots of people yelling at them for it. So.
Yeah, I think
we need all of you to tweet it out or whatever. Hey, and we'll send a link out to a sample version, a sample URL. So.
All right. Is there any other judges' questions before we move on?
Just an observation, you know, I think while it's great to have the information, I also think it'd be interesting, you know, this is probably an exaggeration, but I expect demographically, who takes the train is kind of different from who takes the bus. But also, there are probably a lot of people who won't take the train without a little more of the kind of information that you have. And so I think it'd be interesting not only transition MARTA to being, you know, something that a younger tech-savvy demographic thinks of all the time as a transportation option.
Sure. I think you've seen that in other cities where they have this kind of services. It makes the service a lot more attractive to people that might not otherwise consider it. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see that here.
Go to the Metro site.
The DC
In
Metro,
DC?
yeah, they're good stuff.